Welcome back, everybody. So today I got a story about PlayStation 3 users reporting their games no longer updating. Now, for a lot of you who are really familiar with the situation itself, PlayStation has basically informed everybody that they will be shutting down their PlayStation 3 and PSP Online Marketplace effective July 2nd, followed by the Vita Store more specifically on August 22nd. Now, for a lot of people who might be thinking, well, so what's a big deal? It's just kind of closing down a couple things. We're no longer using that. That's almost 10 years ago. Yada, yada, yada. This is actually pretty important because at the end of the day, it's not about just closing the store itself. It's about the fact that we're going to be losing a lot of access to a lot of games. Now, the article I have in front of me here by VGC Game claims that there's around 2,200 digital-only games who will disappear from the PlayStation Marketplace, through the vast majority would still be available on other platforms such as PC and Xbox. Now, I do like the fact that at least these games will be available on PC or on Xbox. I know me personally, I do enjoy those old school games. Now, one thing I do enjoy is the fact that just because a store is closing down doesn't mean the availability of getting some games are not there. For me personally, I have one very good example is the game Soul Reaver. Now, Soul Reaver is a very old school game, and when I mean old school, I mean even for me, it was a game that I personally did not get to own, but I did get to play at family members' houses and stuff. And that game, to be honest, for me was pretty much lost for a long time. It was just a faded memory until recently I realized that it was actually available on the Steam store, and I was actually really much surprised because it just came out of the blue. I was talking to one of my friends and I went like, hey, remember that game where you kind of like stab people and then kill vampires and stuff? And he was like, you mean Blood Omen? And I'm like, no, the other one. And he's like, oh, Soul Reaver. Yeah, just download it on Steam. And I'm like, what? And yeah, anyway, so this is the funny part. So um basically, I'm kind of glad, to be honest, that at least some of these games will be available on the PC, but that's not always a good thing, and I'll tell you why in a second. Because as I found out when I downloaded Soul Reaver, just because the game is available on PC does not mean that it's automatically compatible with every software you have, every hardware you have, and pretty much it's going to be as simple as simply downloading the game and playing. I for sure had to bug a couple things, tweak a lot of stuff just to make it playable, to be honest. And thank God for Google, or else honestly I think I would have never played this game, but I ended up still playing it. But anyway, back to the point regarding PlayStation and everything. It's very sad for me to be seeing these things because for I think the first part, or at least a good part of 2020, I know that PlayStation was doing amazing. It was going good. It was going strong. It was doing a lot of good things. Even with the release of the PlayStation 5 and everything, honestly, you didn't really hear on the news. At least I didn't hear on the news stories about Xbox missing stock or anything. It was a lot more focused on the PlayStation, and for good reason, honestly. I feel like PlayStation was doing a very good job at marketing its stuff. The headlines were also, helping out, saying a lot about the scalpers and everything, but also about the fact of, just the games themselves, God of War Ragnarok. I'll be honest, when God of War 2018 came out, I was actually pretty much contemplating the PlayStation just for that, honestly. I saw the trailers, I saw the gameplay, I saw a lot of people playing and telling me good stuff about the story. Thankfully, I ended up playing this game years later, and by years, I mean probably like a year ago. And honestly, I really feel like I missed out. I really feel like, it's a game I probably should have played on day one and paid full price for, but I didn't. Now, just because a game, was exclusive to the PlayStation doesn't mean that it's never going to be exclusive anywhere else. To give you some examples again here, I did not believe or never thought I would be able to see a game like Doom on the Switch, and all of a sudden, or a Nintendo in general. I was never expecting to see Doom on a Switch, but you know what? I booted up my Switch and I saw Doom, and the best part is, it's Doom Eternal, literally, and Doom 2016. Now, that's actually a very good sign because it tells me that, we're literally getting to an age where the consoles themselves probably are going to be very used for like exclusivity and everything, but also the fact that, just because we don't have a physical CD for it anymore, we're also going to have the possibility to download it digitally. Now, I also want to make a good point here about the digital aspect, because I definitely remember the time, and I come from a time where it was very common to just, go to the store, pick up the game, and just bring it home, or maybe trade it with friends and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, that was all we had. Back then, digital was existing. Like, it did exist, and I do remember, I kid you not, it was around 2004, I would say 2005. More specifically, I would have to say 100% down about 2005, 2006. I remember there was this company here from my internet company that was actually offering the possibility of like a subscription based for like downloading games and stuff. And one of those games was Blood Omen 3. And I remember telling myself, wow, that's pretty cool. I get to download stuff. But then the bill came and we realized that downloading games was kind of expensive, and I haven't heard from it ever since. But anyway, back to this point here about the article itself that I want to point out a little bit more is the fact that, you know, the ship hasn't sunk, yet there's already issues causing it that's kind of like not motivating anyone to do anything, which I find very weird. Because if anything, don't you want people to kind of be hoarding these games, downloading these games on their PlayStation, saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to be able to download this later, let me download it now. And all of a sudden, people that are downloading these games, like Battlefield 4 apparently, which I'm really surprised, are having issues updating the game, which, again, it kind of sounds counterproductive here, because you are shutting down something. And, you know, if anything has taught, if Sony has learned anything in its past history, look at PT. I think I remember a couple years ago there was people still selling their PlayStations because it still had the PT demo available in it. And now people are basically downloading games and getting an error, or I don't know if it's an error, but they're not getting their updates, and that kind of like discourages people. I know I would be discouraged downloading a game and all of a sudden, you know, it's not updating properly. Now, I found this very weird. Honestly, I found this very, very weird. But you know what? We're in a day and age where, you know, weird things are going to happen, like a global pandemic, and then, you know, vaccinations within a year and stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying this is a conspiracy theory for vaccinations, but there's definitely something going on here that's definitely weird. But I do also want to point out one more thing here, which was, for me, I was kind of wondering, what does it mean when it comes to digital? What does it mean to digital games and stuff like that? Because I know I recently made the change to no longer really buy CD versions, because at the end of the day, it kind of sucks sitting down here at midnight and watching all my friends playing the new game while I'm there waiting for like 8 a.m. for the stores to open. Because I don't know about you guys, and feel free to say this in the comments or let me know, but are midnight releases still existing? Do people still do midnight releases? Because I haven't done that in like years, honestly. But anyway, I do want to point out this little part here. I found a very cool article on Screen Rant from August 2020 that basically confirms that my suspicion about digital games sales outnumbering physical sales. Now, the article itself doesn't really specify 100% of this being, you know, hey, this is the wave of the future, but it does kind of push this idea that, you know, digital sales are indeed going going strong and becoming more and more common because of COVID as well. I do know myself, a lot of stores were closed, even with, you know, Amazon Prime. I found it a hassle just to wait for Amazon to deliver it for me. I kind of just felt like downloading the game digitally, and I know Nintendo does this thing here that basically when you pre-order the game through the store on the Switch, you basically get like free gold coins, and you get like 400 gold coins, which is, I guess, like $4 versus just buying the physical copy and like registering, I guess, the game, and it gives you like 100 gold coins, which is like $1. So there's really an incentive here for digital games. And I do know a lot of people told me that, you know what, in Japan apparently retail stores are no longer a real thing. It's really more downloading stuff online for like years now. You kind of go to the store and get like a download code, and that's it. But anyway, I didn't want to take too much of your time today, because I just wanted to point out this weird thing that I noticed about the PlayStation Store no longer updating their games. And for me, honestly, it's very counterproductive. I don't feel like this is right at all. On the contrary, I think people should be, you know, kind of downloading these games just for the fear of not missing out, and also for the fact that, you know, we don't know when these games are going to be available again. I know the article itself pointed out that, you know, you're going to be able to get these games on other platforms like the Xbox, and I gotta say kudos to Xbox, honestly, because I think they've been on the downfall for a little bit now, and, you know, they're going really strong with the whole, you know, download your games online, play games from like Xbox One. I was actually surprised when I booted up my Xbox and saw that Star Wars of the Old Knights of the Old Republic KOTOR 1, basically, that I haven't played in God knows how many years. I think it's like last time I played was like in 2005. Is actually available, and there was a couple of other games like Full Spectrum Warrior, which I've never gotten a chance to play, but I'm definitely going to try out now, available. And for me, I kind of find this very weird because, you know, Xbox has been doing this for years. Like, even on the 360, you know, you had the ability to download games, and when you got the Xbox One, you can like kind of backwards compatible play that game instead of having the CD. It was super convenient to just download it. And now Sony all of a sudden is kind of like, hey, listen, we're closing down the stores, And by the way, we're kind of not updating the games anymore, you know, which is for me very, very odd because, again, I find this really strange. And to be honest, if there's an update down the line, if there's some sort of weird conspiracy theory, I'll definitely take a look into it. But anyway, that was my 2 cents. That was my honest opinion, honestly, at this point. And yeah, I just felt like sharing this little information here for you guys. I'm going to be posting the references in the bottom as well. So if you want to take a look into these articles themselves, feel free. And besides that, it was just a quick video, guys. I want to say thank you so much for listening. And this was Critical Chris. And I'm going to wish you a good night.